All right, Chad, to start out the stream, I found a video from someone who claims that they went to high school with Mizkif. We're just gonna watch this. The video is called Going to High School with Mizkif was interesting.
Are you Adam Meisner, the Adam Meisner?
Yes, it is I, the Adam Meisner. So I found out semi-recently that some guy from my high school is famous. I just didn't give a shit about Twitch and like Twitch streamers, and so I just never noticed.
Okay.
But I was on Rumble and then I saw this guy in the thumbnail and I was like, oh, I went to high school with that guy. So I click on it and then
That's
he had like a
crazy.
zillion people watching, and like Rumble view counts are not that high, but it was like 2,000-3,000. I was like, huh, that's weird. And then I was like, and suddenly because there's so many people in the chat, I was like, oh, I shouldn't name drop anything specific. So I'm like, oh, how do I ask this? Like, is this really the guy? I was like,
No, this is not a bit. That really is someone that went to school with me and was a year older. This is not a bit. He really did go to my school.
That's actually kind of
the
funny.
funniest thing is someone in chat was like, oh, he's a schizo who did his research. And it's like, my research for fucking what? What?
Could be a schizo who did his research, bro. It's literally
We'll
his.
just
I'm
give him a
looking at his
subscription.
picture and his video because I thought the same thing. No, it's really him.
But apparently he's like super famous. He told me to look up his Twitch, and I look it up, and it's got like gazillion. And what's funny is I had seen a clip of him because PewDiePie reacted to the thing with the Mario where the girl streamer is trying to go up the stairs on Mario's
Oh yeah,
ass
where she
to
beats
skip
him in Mario 64 and he gets pissed off.
the never-ending staircase in Mario 64. So I had actually seen a clip of him, and I paused it, and I remember going to my girlfriend and being like, "Oh, I know that guy. I went to high school with him." And then
Wait a second. Does this man write books? There's a book on his back shelf that's called Treading Water, and it's by Adam Meisner. Does he write books?
she was like, "What's his name?" And I was like, "Ah, I don't remember."
That's crazy.
Because he had a nickname, right? And that's what the story is about, actually. His nickname in high school was Miz. But
Really?
that is not originally his nickname. That was his brother's nickname, and he was Little Miz. Now I tried to catch up on the drama.
All right.
Figure out what has happened in the years since. But all these videos, they're kind of weird to watch because they assume you know so much about like random like Twitch stuff. They'll use these abbreviations for people. Like I was watching like some video got recommended to me by Tectone, who is, I mean, yeah, he's a guy. It's he's another Twitch streamer, and
Yeah.
it was Mizkif Exposed or whatever. So I was like, okay, I'll try to get through this. And the video is so boring because I don't know any of this stuff. Like I don't know, like they're using abbreviations for people I don't know, and then they're talking about live stream fail is like a Reddit. I don't know. I none of it is relevant to me.
Come on, man. You know what Reddit is. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, that was mean.
And so it's just hard for me to like really pay attention. But he made a claim in the video that I would like to refute, having no context. I I know nothing of the lore of what's happened in the past like years since high school. But he made the claim
Okay.
that Ms. Kiff bullies people so that people won't bully him. And I would like to be so bold as to be completely uninformed and refute that claim. And to explain why, I need to explain where his username came from.
Wait,
So-
is that a... I see a One Punch Man manga. I see Spy X Family manga. Is that Alita Battle Angel manga on the back too? Huh.
Miz was his
Cool.
nickname in high school, but it was not always his nickname. He was previously Little Miz because his big brother was Miz.
Little
I didn't really
Miz.
know Mizkif.
I'm gonna call him
I
Little
also
Miz
didn't
from
really have
now
any
on.
problems with him. His brother, on the other hand, was always a douchebag. He was the last bully in my class. His primary thing was to ask nasty questions. And it would just be, incessant and have
So his brother was a bully, so he turned out to be a bully. All right, I see what's going on here.
no point. He'd be like, "Oh, why do you walk like that?" Blah blah blah. Or, and it's hard to give a specific example because it never made any sense. It was like, if someone was named Dana, he would be like, "Ew, why are you so Dana?" Like it would just be these dumb bullying things just all the time.
So he thought he was good. So his older brother thought he was good at bullying, but he was actually like trash at the one thing that he was known for. That's depressing.
And in his mind, I think he was doing that to keep himself safe from being bullied. But what he hadn't noticed is that nobody was doing that anymore except for him. And
Yeah.
then gradually, everyone kind of turned on him. And instead of his bullying kind of taking him out of the firing line, it made everyone pick on him remorselessly. And this started about the time when his little brother came into the high school, who you know as Mizkif.
Chat, you know what's so funny is people that still try to bully people. Like, if it's on the internet, that's one thing. Most of the time, it's not actually genuine. But when somebody bullies somebody at school, you're just a cornball at that point. Like, nobody bullies people in this day and age. Like, even back when Mizkif was in high school, it sounds like people didn't bully people that much. Like, I feel like bullying was a thing in, like, the 90s and maybe early 2000s. I didn't get bullied at all. I'm one of, like, the most bullyable people in school. Like, people don't bully people anymore. Not in real life, at
People would
least.
ask the question, why aren't you cool like your little brother? And then that would escalate into, when they would see both of them together, they would ask Little Miz, how come you're not a faggot like your brother?
Oh,
Or
god
they would
damn,
ask
bro. He
Miz,
just dropped the word. Wow. He just dropped the word. And I don't know anything about this guy, so. Wow. Can I upload this to YouTube? Am I even, like... It's on his channel. He didn't get striked, but I'm kind of walking some dangerous territory right now with YouTube. That'd be a big risk. Maybe I'll try and remember to censor it.
directly, man, how come you're such a faggot and your
Oh
brother
my
is
god,
cool?
bro, stop saying it.
And they would do that every single day because he had done it to everyone else every single day. And it was so fucking annoying. Like, and both the brothers were people that I only had dealings with in passing. But even in passing, anytime I was passing the older brother in my class, Ms., people would be shitting on him. People would be saying nasty things to him. Anytime I was near him, I was near other people who shit on older brother Ms. And they primarily used his little brother to do that. They would always use examples about how his brother acts and how he does not act. Like, why is little Miz so much cooler than you? And that would be always. And it was to the point that it, like, broke him down. Something that people mentioned in the chat when I stumbled across Mizkif.
Wait, so is that why when people say... Oh my gosh, bro. Wait, so that's why Mizkif is jealous when other people do better than him, because his older brother was jealous of him doing better than his brother. Wait, what the this is crazy.
After all these years,
I don't know if that has anything to do with it at all, but that's the connection that I'm making here.
people were telling me that he was short, and I was like, well, I know he's short because I knew him. like walking past him, I was over his head. So yeah, I know he's short. And his brother was very spindly and tall, maybe like 6'3" or 6'4" or something.
That's
whatever
crazy.
height he was, people always acted surprised, and people would ask him how tall he was, and then they would say, they people would ask him how tall he was, and then they would always reply, "Are you sure? You look like such a bitch." Or like it would always, people were always
That's
shitting on him
insane.
because for as long as they had known him, from middle school all the way up into high school, he had been nasty to them, and people took it out on him every single fucking day. And you know what? He fucking deserved it too. But on the other hand, Little Miz was cool. Little Miz was a mature person you could have a conversation with, or just anything. If you had any small interaction with him, he would act like a normal person.
Okay.
If it was like, did you see this person go by here? Do you know which room this is in? He would just say, I don't know, or I know. Whereas the older brother Miz would be like, ew, or like, oh, why are you so stupid? Or like, or he would say their name and be like, why are you so Dana? Or like, it would just always, it was this fucking like brain rot
That's
bullying,
just annoying.
just all the time.
That's just straight up annoying. Like, I'm just asking a question. Why are you asking me this question? Are you dumb? It's like, I just asked a question. This is like the other day, at work. I asked someone, hey, are you good driving or do you want me to drive? And they said, hey, don't come at me like that. And I'm like, don't come at you? Like what? I didn't even say anything. I asked you a question. They said, don't come at me with that bass in your voice. And I'm like, like, bro, what did I do? I just asked the damn question. Like, what are you coming at me for? I was just genuinely wondering. Jeez. Okay.
And so eventually, people said, I'm going to stop calling you Miz. I'm going to call your little brother Miz. He's not going to be Little Miz. He's just going to be Miz now. And genuinely that happened. They took Miz, older brother Miz's nickname, away from him and gave it to the little brother. Everyone unanimously did this. And they started calling the older brother in my class by his first name. And genuinely, having gone through middle school all the way into high school, I never knew his name. And so someone said his first name, and I was like, that's your name? And then he was like, yeah. And then everybody laughs, right? Because everybody is on board to shit on this guy. I was just genuinely confused. It's a normal name. It's just like a regular Italian name, but it's just, I had never heard it, and so I was confused. Same thing with the little brother, by the way. Some like schizo who was doxing him told me what his first name was, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Just, I forgot. Because only his brother would call him by his first name, everybody else said Miz. And after he had his nickname taken away from him, it had a visible effect on the older brother Miz. He started to slouch more. He no longer was as tall as he was. He was kind of always hunched, and he was much more reserved, and he didn't talk as much. Mostly probably because anything he said would be responded to nastily. And this is a story that I've told for years.
That's
before
crazy.
I knew that anyone involved in this story was famous. And people hearing the story will sometimes sympathize with the older brother and be like, oh, that's sad. Oh, he had his nickname taken away from him by his younger brother. Oh, that must have sucked. But those people did not live with this fucker for years, having him just be nasty about every little random thing. Everybody snapped and gave back to him exactly what he gave to them. So when Tectone claims that he picks on other people so that he won't be picked on, I don't believe that for a second. And this is without having seen any evidence either way. I just watched him develop into a person that was very much the opposite of his brother. And so I just don't think he would go out into the world and act like his brother. Because he saw what happens. He was the last bully in our class, and he got hammered down. He was the nail sticking out, and he got hammered down. And he was very well aware of his position as being the older brother, younger brother. Everyone reminded him of it every single time they saw him. If he was passing, they would be like, man, you're so cool, unlike your brother. And they would say that all the time. That is, in fact, most of what I remember about Mizkif was people telling him that. And in fact, he needed a ride home from school one day, and he comes to me, and he's like, oh, please, like, can I have a ride? And I'm like, because I'm thinking of his brother. His brother's a huge douchebag. And then he goes, like, reading my mind, goes, please, I'm not a douchebag like my brother. And I was like, all right, get in here, let's go. So he understood that it was bad to be like his brother. And the reason I was able to drive him home was because he lived near one of my friends. And that friend got a ride to school from Papa Miz. By the way, the dad I never met except for in, like, passing, but apparently he was very intelligent. And on the ride to school, he was giving my friend all this, like, really interesting advice. He wanted to do
think
music.
like somehow he's morphed into the type of person that would act like his older brother. Cause like I get this guy has had prior real life experience with this person, but it's either he's playing a character on stream or that's just how he genuinely is, and when he's in public he doesn't act like that.
He wanted to be in a band, and
I
the
don't
dad's
know.
advice was you have to look at yourself like a business, not just your band. You have to look for opportunities to promote yourself and to advertise yourself to then splash back on your band. And that advice might seem kind of basic, but to like a kid in high school, that's very important advice to get. And he took that advice and was very successful with it. He would become the frontman of several bands, and this is through promoting himself as an individual, networking with other bands that might need someone to fill for them. And then you have 4 guys in the industry who then kind of owe you for helping them out with a show, and so they're going to promote your band when you have stuff going on. It was smart advice. Anyway, the whole ride, while the dad is trying to give him this very sage advice, the older brother Miz is incessantly bullying his dad the way that he bullied all of the other kids in school, going like wow, no one cares, like why are you so gay, like just stuff like, I don't know what he was saying, but and before anyone says, oh, we should have beat his kids, no, you're a loser, no one should do that, that's fucking retarded. The amount of losers I've met in life that were beat by their parents is immeasurable. Oh,
True.
and I saw some comments on short guy syndrome. I don't really think that would apply to Mizkif because always people were telling him that he could beat his brother in a fight. They were telling his brother that his little brother could beat him in a fight, and they were telling him that he could beat him in a fight. That went on for a couple weeks where people were like, do you think you could take your little brother in a fight? And then whatever he said, people would laugh and then say, oh, he would punch you in your chode and snap you in half and whatever. Like, you know. So I have to assume that being told over and over again that you're stronger than this guy who's taller than you is going to have the opposite effect of you being insecure about being short. So, oh, and I forgot, I need a clout chasing disclaimer. So no, I don't think this video is going to have any benefit for me. When I stumbled across Mizkif on that Rumble stream, he had me paste my links in chat where my books are and stuff. The Burning Star website did go down because so many people clicked on it, but my website was fine. Nobody bought anything at all. Like, not there's like there's a couple thousand people in chat, but nobody nobody bought any books. In fact, I saw a guy donate in one of those streams that I hung out in, and then the whole chat was mocking him, and it's like, bro, that's the shittiest audience to make money from.
That is pretty
Like,
crazy.
what the fuck? But apparently he's like rich now and he has Lamborghinis and shit, and it's like, it's not from chat donos. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I don't see a big financial return on being supportive of Mizkif. But no, if I'm being honest, like that's just how I knew him in high school. And granted, I didn't know him very well, and I have not followed any of his career or drama or whatever. I saw a video of him beating up a guy outside a Lamborghini. Like he pulls a guy out of a Lamborghini and like beats him up.
Yeah. I was just gonna mention that one earlier when he was talking about how he could beat up his older brother.
I was like talking to It's just such a world away, right? You just can't imagine this guy. You drive home from school one time to then fast forward, he has a Lamborghini and he's beating up a guy, yelling about how he's like he's on coke and he needs to get clean, like beating up this guy. It's like, what the fuck? But I mean, small world, I guess. Anyway, you watching this video, I do want to shill my books. I want you to buy them. Buy Slayer in the White Valley. It's very good. I know I'm biased, but hey, that's what it is. Good book. Buy it. Read it. Anyway, I've told this story as an example for years about how people don't like bullies. And by bully, I don't mean people who are bullying people into being more moral, like making fun of a guy for cheating on his girlfriend or something.
Chat. Go buy his books if you can. I can't. I don't make enough money to be able to afford to buy random things, but if you're interested, go buy it.
This was just picking on people
If I remember, I'll put the link in the description of the video.
for no fucking reason. And it was only out of like a selfish desire, not trying to, as a whole, improve your group. This was just being shitty. And people hated it. And for years, I've used this as an example of why you shouldn't act like that. And so hopefully you enjoyed, found it interesting. And if you'd like to hear more stories from me, check out this book, Slayer in the White Valley, back here. Very good.
W
because
promo.
I am not entirely altruistic. I am trying to sell books. That's why I have a YouTube channel. I'm an author. I want to sell the stories that I write. So please buy them. It would mean the world to me.
Charlie Kirk died before I finished editing. Wait, what? When was this released? This was released 16 hours ago.
So I originally wanted to make a video defending Mizkif because people were making comments about him that I felt
here
like
we go.
didn't really characterize him. But I just watched his reaction to the Charlie Kirk assassination, and I feel like I can't really ignore that.
Okay, here we go.
It's got to be addressed in the same video. It's really disappointing. An anecdote from the original recording session was the fact that he was always genuine, Mizkif. He would just act like an adult. And
I think what's happened is streaming has warped this man's mind, and all he cares about is the numbers. Like, we all know this. We've all seen the proof. Everybody knows this, except this guy who probably didn't follow him that much or that closely until recently. So,
in all my interactions with him, had this feeling that he was mature. He was much more mature than his brother, and he was going to be much more successful in life, which has proven to be true. But it's really disappointing to see him act like that. Like he can't be serious. Because he can. Him, more than his brother, was a genuine person who could just interact with you. And I don't know what it takes to be a successful streamer. Maybe you have to be...
It takes being the opposite of that. Which I'm trying to disprove, by the way. I'm trying to be a normal fucking person that people can relate to.
Kind of a shitter who can't take anything serious ever, but sometimes you're a product of your environment, and maybe when he was around his brother who acted like a piece of shit all the time, he thought, I don't want to be like that. And so he worked very hard to be the opposite of that. You're a product of your environment, and so sometimes when people hang around with a bad crowd, they start to act poorly because they want to be slightly better than the average of their friends. But maybe Mizkif is wired differently. When he was around his brother, who was constantly acting like a piece of shit, he saw his brother and then thought, I would like to be the complete opposite of this. And he worked very hard to be that.
Crazy that we've never... to my knowledge, we've never seen his brother. We don't know who his brother is.
The person that
I didn't even know he had a brother
in high school. And maybe now it's not the toxic group of vapid attention whores that he surrounds himself with that's the problem. Maybe he needs worse people in his circle. Maybe he needs to be around him constantly to remind him what not to act like. Because how he reacted was gross and immature and pathetic. You need to be a man and just handle shit. You just have to be more stoic than that. If the way you deal with someone getting killed is by being like this chimp, this like jester who says nasty, callous things about a guy who died, a father who died, you need to fix that. And I think it's more frustrating because I know he has the capacity to not be like that. I was never friends with this guy. He was just a guy I knew. I gave him a ride home from school a couple times. And it's a friend's job to check you, to make fun of you when you act shitty, to keep you from becoming a bad person. Because your friends are supposed to point that out and help you like that. I wish he would surround himself with people who would tell him that. It's really unfortunate. He doesn't have to behave like that, and he didn't used to. And I don't really know if people change. Maybe he did change. I don't really believe in that. I think people tend to evolve into who they're supposed to be. Hopefully this isn't his, like, end stage, because this kind of sucks. It's just really disappointing to see him act like a middle school kid who doesn't have the maturity to handle something, like, and to act out in such, like, a...
I'm kind of wondering, like... So he said that he just realized who this person was and that they're famous and that he knows them and that he's talked to them and interacted with them in real life. I kind of wonder, like, has he not seen all the other stuff that's been coming out? Like, even just within the last, like, 2 weeks?
Tasteless.
I kind of want to see if there's ever an update, like an updated video on this.
Heartless way is, like, really... It's really annoying. Anyway, I don't really have any grand conclusion to draw. This is my experience with him and my knowledge of him. Take this information and make the conclusions that you will. But remember, he didn't used to act like this. I swear to God, he used to be much cooler than his brother.
I will keep defending myself.
W video. Bro. Let me go back.
Are you Adam Meisner?
Let me what's his link? Here we go. Copy it. I'm going to put it in Notepad. I'm going to open up a Notepad, paste, and then try to remember to put that in the description of the video later. Anyways, chat, like and subscribe, and give Adam a subscription as well. And go visit his website if you can. I'll see y'all later.